Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support of the channel as always. If you like what you see here, smash the subscribe button. I don't know why YouTubers can't just say press it or click, or I don't know. It's always like bash, smash, crush, destroy the subscribe button. I think I spit when I did. I got really excited. Hey, this is pretty exciting because this is the Chukacore. But what's cool about this game is that I'm able to present this every once in a while. There's some actual teamwork going on in here. Very cool how this went down. I quite enjoyed this game. It wasn't a fantastic game. I did okay. So it's not a game where I drop, 10 grand or have a 10,000 spotting, but really cool. All right, so let's get to it. We're on Lakeville. It's a pure tier 10 battle. I am in my Manticore, and I am facing a 13105 and a 100 LT in terms of counter scouting. This is it can be a pretty good scouting map, but it's a little tricky. The scouting positions are very obvious. So most people who get to this level, tier 10, Lakeville, yada yada, kind of understand what's going on with scouts. Not always, but kind of. And I'll show you a couple of those as we go and kind of what I'm thinking about while I'm in those spots, because there's a couple situations where I'm not exactly sure if that's what I want to keep on doing. So I've got a CVS, some optics, and a low noise exhaust system. All right, real quickly, at the very beginning, you can see that I'm headed here. There is a bush up here that I like to get to. It can light all of their tanks along the K row down there. The problem is that in order for your snipers to get shots on those guys, they have to move pretty far forward on this little rise. And the enemy light tanks are often going to go to here, or even deeper, so to speak, into like here. So there's a couple places they can go to. The analog is kind of interesting from our side, in that there really isn't one. It's very difficult to get to this bush right here, which would be fantastic if you could do it. I've done it before once it gets a little more permissive. More than likely your scouting positions are going to be here, maybe to this forward bush just to get a little more forward, or like I'm doing, there's a bush up here I'm going to jump in, or potentially this ramp right here. But let's go ahead and get this going. Those are all the things I'm sort of thinking about. Sometimes you can catch their scouts crossing if they don't have really great camo right here, or if they're a little late getting into the position. But I do not catch out any scouts running for that bush right there until there. There we go. So we do pick him up late, and that's kind of what I'm talking about right there. Though I'm not really sure. I think I caught him crossing behind the buildings here, so I picked him up before he got to the bush. Maybe he got lit, and that's why he jammed on the brakes. Now we've got a Mouse moving across, but notice I really don't have too much. I got a 121 Bravo up on the ramp and a Badger, and I'm not sure if the Badger's got draw distance on the Mouse right there. So the 13105 hides because he gets lit. Now I'm checking what's going on behind me. I want to see what the snipers are doing. We'll try to tee this guy up. That's me looking, going, how come there are no shots going? And if there were, they missed, or I didn't hear them. I'm not really sure. Let's go. Okay, so when we go back, we'll just take a quick look at the draw distance ring because I'm unsure where the Badger is. I come up to the ramp just to take a peek. So let's go back here and we'll stop this. We'll just add a little quick tip to here. The Badger is here. And yes, the Mouse was outside of the draw distance, so that's the danger. He would have had to come in a little further and then probably would have been lit by the 13105 down here. So these are things that most tier 10 players know. So he doesn't want to walk out in there. So, it's a bit of a limited return on that particular position. I did get a lot of information that they didn't send very much. So I'm going to sneak up here. Problem with this position, at least in my opinion, is those stupid trees are in the way. And if you knock them down, it lets people know you're there. Then they start blind firing the bush, or Artie pops a shot in. And interestingly, there Artie died, was in a bad position and got spotted by some of the guys in the Valley of the Noobs down there. So I changed sides. The reason is I lit the CS, and if the CS has any brains whatsoever, he knows that a scout in this bush is most likely what lit him right there, and he may take a shot. I think the left bush is the most common. Who knows? Maybe he decides the right one right here. Left to him, right to us, but I just sort of move around just in case. I've got a little assist going on. I pick up a couple shots there. I'll move a couple times here. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with the 13105. I'm going to scooch forward because I'm not afraid of the CS seeing me that far away, and I'm using that bush in between me and where I think the 13105 is to see if I can move forward. Bit of a chance right there, but this is that other bush I was talking about. That's a little further forward. Notice that my spotting ring, obviously I'm never going to catch anyone back where the mouse was down here, and really they have to cut really far inside before I spot anything moving around, but it is good for potentially catching their scouts up here or their guys up on their little rise, all right, where the CS63 is. So this spot is nice for grabbing them, and they are in the draw distance of anyone that's crossing back behind you. So you got to sort of pick your poison on which one you think you're going to get more damage on. What I like about this is punishing their snipers right there is really nice, especially if their light tank is able to get some lights on our guys. We'll at least pin them down or shoot them. A lot of stuff to think about scouting-wise on what is otherwise a kind of lame scouting map. It's just the first move is very interesting, what you pick. 13105 is moving on the middle road. I find no use for scouts over on the west side in the Valley of the Noobs. Some people will go in there and get in that new bush that's up there. We'll talk about that later because I do go to that position in a little while. So we gain a little bit of an advantage here. And I'm going to bail out of this thing. Now, I'm not liking a whole lot of what I'm seeing in the town. It looks like we're kind of losing. And then I decide to come around here and see if I can't sort of pick up the 13105. And I see him. Actually, I think the M60, Lord Kofif, who actually has a good game right there. Sees this dude. And now I'm sort of thinking about coming up here. I want to get into this bush. I'm going to use this rock to cover my advance. Again, I think I can get this far without that CS63 seeing me. We'll come around here if we see if we can't kind of pick out the 13105. But the problem is we're starting to lose guys in the town. And let's just look at this position for a second. It's all well and good to be in this bush. It's quite nice. But what am I really getting out of it? The grill's way back there. The 13105 is there. The Badger's actually moved up. So if I did spot something, maybe the Badger gets some shots right here. But I'm kind of trapped. And if I try to leave, if the purples get up around the church right here, then I'm auto-spotted trying to get out of this position. So I don't want to stay here too long. And I'm starting to see our team run away. So that is my cue to get the heck out of Dodge. I'm not liking this at all. We'll spin around. We'll use this rock as cover. And we'll try to get away. Hopefully that 13105 doesn't see me because I'm well inside his spotting range right now. 277 dies and I bail out of this. All right, this is where the teamwork on this thing kind of starts to come into effect. I can see, and this is really interesting, you don't see this very often, but all of these guys sort of realized that that fight is lost. And yes, we lost the 277 and the IS-7, but look at the rest of them. They're like, you know what, let's just fall back. It's a bad situation. We are not going to beat the 110E4, the MAUs, the double MAUs, the 110E4, the VZ, and the 279 early. And there's something else even on top of that. Like, holy cow, that is their power. And there's a lot of pretty good tanks there as far as brawling, and that is just not enough, right? We already lost the two heavies. They're gone. And I'm not going to brawl that big chunk of HP and armor with just a 121 VZ and M60. And I'm kind of watching this going, well, what's my best move for this? How do I help these dudes? Well, I think we're going to knock some stuff down. And even though I don't particularly care for knocking stuff down, that will get me a little bit more camo. And I'm just going to sneak the Manticore into the world's smallest bush. And this is something that a Manticore or the very small light tanks can do. And I'm just going to sit here and try to spot anything coming out of the city as soon as possible and give all the sniperinos as many chances as possible to whittle these guys down. Now we got the scout moving along. Now, unfortunately, the Badger's in a great spot for getting damage and shots, but he's in a horrible spot for being farmed, or at least hit. And right off the bat, we're grabbing some hit points. 279 early goes YOLOing in. Their light tank dies. That's very helpful. One thing you want to do with scouts when you get into situations like this is hold what you got as long as it's working, but also look for opportunities to take out near deads. Right, take out critical tanks, make critical moves, that kind of thing. I'm already eyeing that 279 early. What I don't want him to do is come up, try to get up underneath their guns by coming right at me and getting over to this spot right here. So that's where guys will try to get so they can pop and light these dudes back here and have their snipers kill them. The 121 Bravo is kind of helping us with that because he's in a nice position. It's going to be really hard for them to cross here without getting shredded. Now here come the two big boys. The Mouses are starting to think about it. But the 279 early has actually made a bit of an error right there. He's too far forward and he's trapped. And we're going to spot him every time. In fact, I believe the 121's basically got him perma-spotted. All right, now he's down to a one-shot, and now I'm looking at this going, all right, how do I get rid of this guy? I need to look for an opportunity to kill him. You see me move my hole, so I'm kind of pointing towards that way. The Mouse is actually being shot by, I think, the light tank in the middle or something. They don't push out, and then the IS-7 comes. All right, so I can't really push and assassinate the 279 early while the IS-7 is in there. We got guys taking shots at him. I'm kind of watching what's going on. Everyone on the team here has taken up great positions for defending. It's the only thing we had. Now, notice that the Valley of the Noobs are doing what Valley of Noobs players do. Instead of falling back and helping with us, or at least holding in a defensible position, they've pushed up where they can start to get their butts kicked trying to cross. So I saw the IS-7 pulling back. I don't think there's anything that's going to spot me, at least not in time. I'm going to go take out the 279 early because we can't have him in there, and I'm probably going to take a shot. So he sees me, unfortunately. We'll just go around him. He's doing a good job trying to keep me off his side, and we'll just assassinate that dude, and now we are going to turtle up. Because more than likely the Mouse is paying attention to it, and if I go zinging across here, that road right there is basically the open spot that looks down through where the Mouse is. So I didn't want to just go blasting across that road while I was still lit and let them take a nice timing shot. Or even say I go dark on the way there and they just time the shot. So we'll wait for a few potatoes and we'll get on out of here. I thought about going to the town and I said, no, that's just dumb. There's a 2 Mouse, an IS-7, a 110-4, a VZ-55. Holy crap. Now we're losing all of our peoples. I was looking for maybe a shot into a lower plate, but they sort of turtle up. And I knew I was going to get spotted doing it. So we'll move on out of here. All right. Now this was a kind of, how would I put it? This part of the game is a little bit of a cluster. Everyone's kind of trying to figure out what the next move is. And you don't often get that in this game where you feel like people are really sort of thinking some of the same things. So we blunted the attack coming out of the town. And to their credit, the purple team was smart enough to not just keep driving in to all our sniperinos. Or scared enough, however you want to look at it. I didn't really pay attention to the skill of the players. But the 2 Mouse, yes, they have a lot of armor. One of them's near dead, and they just weren't interested in walking into all of that. A significant portion of the enemy team's power is down here in the south. They've already beat our dopey pushers, and the Leopards run away. So at least we have the Leopard with 258 hit points. Finally kind of caught a clue at the end of the day. So now I'm just going to look for some shots, but oof, the Leopard actually got killed. So now I'm not too happy about what's going on here at all. I'm going to come back here and try to put eyes on. I want to at least let the team know when these dudes are going to show up. And this really looks bad, right? We are down 5 to 8. We're down 3,700 hit points that I'm aware of. We'll knock that tree down so I have a little bit of cover here. Not cover, camo, let's put it that way. The tree is 0 cover, but we do have a little bit of camo, and I can sneak down behind the hill there if I need to. All right, 13105's coming in. Here comes Lord Kofif. He gets the memo, comes around. Unfortunately, the grill's a little overextended, so I'm going to come up here. He didn't see anything. Oh, okay, there is something. And he nukes him. All right, fantastic. That is the guy I was worried about the most. I didn't want to come through the Valley of the Noobs with a Kron. Hold down right there. And Lord Kofif is doing some nice shooting right there. We got a 268/5. I'm going to come up in here. The 13105 comes up to help me. I didn't know I couldn't quite get up there. I was trying not to knock the tree down. I didn't really want him to know I was there. All right, now they know that all 3 of us are here. Or, sorry, 2 of us are here. The M60 is just doing great work on the 268/5. I'm going to come up here. All right, what I'm doing here, being careful, is, and I think I get lit. I guess I didn't. I'm watching my proxy light circle and trying not to put those guys inside my proxy circle. I don't want them to know I'm there yet. All right, if somebody shows up back here, I want to be able to kind of pop out and take a sneaky shot if I can. Getting rid of the 103 would be great. This is a time issue now, fellas. We are looking at a situation where, yes, we have a grill and a VZ and a 120, but they have a lot of power, and there's a bunch of guys in the middle. We really need to close out whatever's here, not to push onto the cap, but just to kind of relieve the pressure on this flank, and then either fold back into the middle and defend from there, or potentially hold here if some of their tanks come around. And I can really, it's very interesting on this. I can really tell that the team's doing this. The CS63 kind of bummed me out just a little bit showing up. And the 105 and myself YOLO in, and now we're a little bit exposed, so we got to figure out how to get out of here. We do have the M60 sitting there, so I'm going to hang out here for just a potato. And I thought about getting up here and maybe trying to get the CS63. If I could get up here and get him lit, maybe get a couple cheeky shots, maybe we can knock him out of the game. But something interesting happens here. Oh, crap. Okay. Nicely done on the enemy team. They've reacted. Their IS-7 actually came back, and I am out of here. So the M60 kind of takes a shot, and now I'm bailing back out. There is no reason, my friends, to push bad situations. I have great camo. I have a really good idea that I can probably sneak around here, and maybe even since their heads are down because of the M60, I can get away. Beautiful. Now I'm going to come around and try to add my shots in here with the M60. More good news for us is we actually have an artillery left. I can't quite get the shot on him because I don't use this position much. I did not use it very well. All right, there we go. Oh, great. Now the 110E4 has showed up. Okay, that's a lot of beef over here, fellas. Got 3 of them. Okay, 13105 is down there. Boom, boom. Someone just said it's nice to see the scouts kick ass sometimes. All right, I like that. I like that. The GW100 says don't go city yet, although they kind of start pushing in there. That concerned me. That's one of the moves I was not very happy with, seeing the VZ and the 121 Bravo pushing into city, because they're pretty easily taken out. The Maus are on low hit points relatively for a Maus. Notice most of their team is low hit points, but so are ours. Somewhere in here, I'm going to ask the 13105 if he can get out of there. He's yelling help. There I go. So I said, hey, man, can you get out of there? Between me and used to be the M60, but he bailed out, we were able to spot them every time they poked, and they were getting hit by Artie, and that really kept their heads down, right? Really kept their heads down. And now we extract our 13105. He takes no more damage, and he heads off that way. Now, that's fine. I would absolutely love him to go do that over there, and I will watch this, all right? So if I can get a cheeky shot on somebody, they don't have any artillery. This was the bush I was talking about earlier. I said we'd talk about it later. That later time is now. Take a look at it. It's fairly wide. I'm a little bit high on it. Most of the time people take blind shots are going to shoot right near the rock because they assume you're going to want to try to back down as soon as you shoot. So sometimes I'll actually go a little bit further in one direction or the other and just try to be sneaky in terms of where they shoot. You'll see the 110E4 actually takes a shot through there a couple times. When I'm shooting bushes like that, I will actually kind of change the position, especially if I know I didn't hit the guy. I see it impact further down the line somewhere right behind it. I'll actually shift the aim just a little bit. But if you're popping out and someone spots you like that right there, you know where the guy is. He's up in here, right? There it goes. See that shot? I'm very glad that did not hit me. Very glad that did not hit me. Artillery still dropping on the CS63, and now the team is moving around and seeing what they can do. They find the Centurion AX. He's on the middle. 121 Bravo looks to be going around to look for shots with angles. The 13105 is now moving towards the city to see if he can get some SA for the rest of the team. And the M60, he's a one-shot, so he's picked up a spot where that nice sniper gun can really support in a lot of different directions, but he also can't be seen by the AX. So they're in trouble in terms of vision because they don't have scouts like we do. Not hugely important on this map, but in the way this one's in particular is being fought, it's a big advantage. Now, when you're doing something like this, you're holding a position, and you know they've got multiple guns down there, and as a scout, you're not going to be able to take those on. I just missed that shot. That was a bummer. Actually, I do take that shot, and he doesn't get a spite on me. He does not get a light. All right? When you're doing something like this and you are outgunned and they could potentially push you right there, you've got to be very careful and be ready to run away. And when the rest of your team starts to get lit and the enemy team realizes you're the only guy, that's where you've got to be extra vigilant because you may need to bail pretty quickly. This was interesting. They get into town. Centurion AX goes down to the 121 Bravo, who gets into the position by the church, takes that dude out. 121 Bravo continues to move in. The Maus are not in the city anymore. So I think they really started to feel defensive themselves. Quite interesting. So they basically turtle up, and now you can see we're starting to grab real estate. Bridge Troll is 147 hit points. The CS63 is close to a one-shot for me. The 110E4 has significant hit points. One of the Mouses has some good hit points, and the other one is more or less a one-shot. So again, I'm going to hold. I actually typed in chat. I will hold this position. I can see them start to move around, and at some point I'm going to have to support. So I'm starting to think about it. I almost went right there, but it's not quite time. Let's take a look at that. Where is my team? They're just coming out of the city. They've found the CS63, so that's one of the 3 tanks that's not sitting there, though I don't know where the Maus are, right? They could be sitting there as well. Well, they just found one of them, so I'm going to let that develop, all right? Let that develop. I don't want to walk into a 110E4. There you go. See, he's still looking. I missed that. That's unfortunate. Not lit. As he backs out, I'm going to go ahead and sneak up forward here. He clearly doesn't have great vision. If I'm able to shoot and he doesn't see me, that's pretty good sign. All right, he's stuck back behind there. The reason I'm doing this is I want to start putting pressure on their campers because their campers are going to start shooting at my guys coming around the corner right there, and I want to see if I can maybe assassinate one of these dudes. So we'll come in here. We're going to sneak up. Oh, no, not quite. Around the corner. All right, why am I going out this way? Because the 110E4 can't shoot me through these rocks. That's why I'm doing this. The 13105 comes in, shows up, starts lighting guys up. I'm going to come in this way. We're going to start lighting guys up. Find the IS-7, drop him, and then I go straight forward in behind these, but not so far forward that the 110E4 can shoot me from his little hidey hole. Really, he should have charged me right here to get rid of me. The VZ's kind of hanging out. I have a long reload. Dude's trying to do VZ stuff, and he dies. 110E4 shoots. I'm going to come out here and bounce off of his lower plate because that's what I do. Fantastic. And really, in that small little situation where I was talking about, I killed the IS-7, the VZ's there. I don't want to walk out into the shot of the 110E4. You notice that the rest of the team cleaned up the few guys that were out in the field and the other defenders right there. And then just the collapse is real. I didn't mention time. I usually do, but the other thing that was weighing on us, one of the other reasons that I pushed in when I did, which was maybe slightly earlier than I wanted to, is time. I didn't have the time or luxury to wait for the team to do more damage. And really, I needed to get in there and get them busy too, worrying about me. Once they start worrying about people from 2 directions and you've got good snipers, that you can collapse quickly in a defensive position for sure right there. So the 110E4 is thinking about the mistakes he's made that have led him to this situation. I have a long reload. It just takes a while. He's really staring at me, so I have no interest in just driving. Oh, there he goes. Oh, dang it. As soon as he came around and I saw a little bit of side, I thought I might get that, but well-deserved Lord Kofif M60 drops the last shot on the 110E4, and he ends up with 4 kills and a bunch of damage. So I just wanted to feature that game because it was really interesting. It was definitely a game, especially with these last few guys and maybe a couple of guys before that, where this group of players were thinking a lot along the same lines and doing the things you have to do on this map to win and come from behind. And really what you have to do on any map to come from behind, which is to turtle up a little bit or close the lines, bring enough guns together that you can take on guys that are pushing unwisely, and then look for opportunities to kill overexposed tanks and then hold positions that you've won instead of pushing into their campers and their cap and all that stuff. And then look for an opportunity to flex to the other side of the map. Really, you sauce flex from one to the other, and then come around and start cleaning these guys up. As you start to grab more and more territory and ground on the map, you have more and more crossfires, you have more and more intel in terms of knowing where they are because you already know where they aren't, right? All right, that's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in. We will see ya.